Alrighty. Getting everything set up here. I think we are good to go. Alrighty, everyone. Hi there, my name is Elvin Moy, also known as Epoxy. Today is February 9th, about 3 p.m. here in Chicago, and today I'll be shoutcasting and streaming today's game of the Illinois Tech League of Legends Division 1 team as they face on Robert Morris University, the RMU Eagles, in the North Conference for the Collegiate League of Legends 2019 season. So we're all just hanging out here in lobby as I believe the pick and bans are about to be coming out soon. For those that are new, Illinois Tech Esports, we are here based in Chicago on the South Loop, and so this year the League of Legends team, we have an esports program now that hosts a variety of different titles from League of Legends to Overwatch, Rocket League, CSGO, Fortnite, and these programs, they are led by almost entirely by the students that have their own coaching staff, which are also the students that dedicate time to practice after school, play on these league matches during the weekends, and whatnot. So, taking a quick look here with this team, the Division 1 team is currently, this is the third week of the North Conference going on here, and the Hawks are 2-0 with wins against Marietta College, and I'm trying to see if I can remember the last one. I believe Marietta was first. The last week on the third was against Bellevue University, where the Hawks won 2-1. So going for today's matchup against RMU, RMU is the kind of the pioneer of esport programs here in colleges. So looking today at their roster, they've got a lot of high talent with a lot of diamonds and a lot of grandmasters, and this is only for the start of season 9. I'm almost certain that during season 8 these guys were all within Master League, and so one of the things with RMU's program is that they have they do offer scholarships for these students to be attending the school, getting their degree, and also representing the team in this esports program. So as the teams are going to start going into the pro draft, I guess we should take a quick look at Illinois Tech's roster. So jumping over to this, we've got this semester we have for the League of Legends Division 1 team, we have Theo, Shrimp, Nairellen as the top lane, GB, Diop, Draco, Legiendo in the jungle, Ren, Wu, Rainamar in mid, Casey, and Evan playing in the bot lane, Snowdown Arcade and Poro Tector respectively, and they're led this semester with their coach, captain coordinator, Tom Case. So with Theo, quick look at him. He is a grad student studying computer science and engineering, finishing season 8 in Diamond, all the way from Paris, France. And so his fun fact that we have for him is that he is a Mord abuser. So as the OPGG screenshot that we've got there, pulling out over 100 games here in NA on this account. So gonna be interesting to see if RMU is gonna be keeping an eye out for that. Jumping over to GB, Draco Legiendo, a first year from Atlanta, Georgia, studying here. ITM stands for Information Technology Management, finishing season 8 Diamond as well, with his fun fact as a Blade and Soul Pro. I think this screenshot I have is for season 9, but as the jungler for IIT, I think last week we saw him exhibit some of that Camille gameplay. So going to be interested to see if he's going to be doing that again, as he's already starting off season 9 with that champ. Moving over to Rainamar, we have him as a third-year electrical engineer from Chicago, Illinois, studying electrical engineering, finishing season 8 Diamond. I don't have any fun facts. He's kind of the silent voice within the team, from what I hear. It's not too much to report on him, but in terms of his champ variety, we've got some Yasuo, Syndra, Fiora, Orianna, and Veigar. Then rounding off with our bot lane, we have Casey Weisfist, also known as Snowdown Arcade, a second year studying biology here at Illinois Tech, finishing season 8 Diamond. 2 pentakills in Season 8. From Tinley Park, Illinois. His fun fact is be sure to follow him on Twitch. I know he is actively trying to pursue uh, streaming in the side as much as he can and trying to boost up that follower count. So feel free to stop by and follow him on that. Last, we've got Evan, the Protector from Lombard, Illinois. A third year studying computer science here, also finishing Season 8 Diamond. His fun fact is Gonzalez Wi-Fi is inting me. So for those that are unaware, Gonzalez is one of the dormitories that we have here at IIT, and it's an apartment-style housing, um, and it is notorious for having poor internet connection due to a lot of the rooms don't have Ethernet capability, so they must use the school Wi-Fi, and sometimes it's not really that great for playing video games with. We're going to be taking a quick look right now at the pick ban tools that are going to be used. So RMU has opted to try to be using the Pro Draft tool instead of the in-game league pick and ban. Kind of curious about that because I am, if I'm not mistaken, these teams that are playing in the collegiate league for Riot here they get the league unlocked, which is essentially a benefit that allows them to have all access to the champs currently out. So I'm not sure if that league unlocked is they're trying to see if they can bring out a Silas in this game. So Silas is one of the newer champs that just came out. But if we're taking a quick look, we're now in the second half of the ban. IIT is going to be banning out as the Scarlet Hawks on the red side here for game 1 did ban out Silas as the 5th, but looking at RMU, they've got a Lucian Thresh bot lane, Lightly and Urgot top, facing against the IIT's bot lane of Xayah Nami, and the Rumble top. We're seeing the Kayn come out now for the Hawks, and one of the interesting things is that I know that with Evan, the support for IIT, it's that he often plays tanks in his bot lane, so picks like Braum, Alistar, I think I've seen a lot, so interesting to see him go on the mage here with the Nami, but Nami and Xayah definitely have a lot of potential in the early game for a 2v2. Thresh as well, once he gets that level 2, is going to be important to see. Whoever gets level 2 will have that advantage to kind of shove in their wave and poke around against the bot lane. For RMU, last few picks coming out, we're seeing the Zoe mid lane and the Zac jungle. So haven't seen too much Zac around, but his potential for ganking it's really annoying with his E, relatively short cooldown, gets all of that bounce damage. And then for the Hawks, with about 10 seconds left, we're going to be seeing the Yasuo coming out. So that Yasuo will be going for Ren in the mid lane. So it looks like, with that in mind, the game is ready to progress into the champ select mode. So we're going to just hop back to this scene. And let's see. Lots of R's coming out as both sides are ready to go for it. And so with the Pro Draft tool, since they've already picked all of their champs, they're going to have to pick those ones that they've selected already. It's just going to be in a different order, likely because some of these guys here don't actually own all of the champs on their account. So again, the Braum ban here going to be focused towards the Protector. This is one of his more comfortable picks. The Morgana coming out for IIT here. I don't think I saw that on the online tool, but I'm going to assume that's that must have been communicated within the coordinators.
Think what I could offer. I'll stick my head down if I were you.
Alright, taking a quick look as we finished off to pick some bans again. So for RMU, that will be the Urgot, Zac, Zoe, Lucian, and Thresh on the blue side. And with the red side for IIT for the Hawks, they will be doing Rumble, Kane, Yasuo, Zaya, and Nami. So a lot of AD with the Rumble in the top lane. That matchup is going to be interesting to see with some of that AP damage coming out from that Rumble. Um, Going to be interested to see because with this comp, it's very doesn't look like they have too much of a front line. So with any tanks coming out, just from a quick glance, but with RMU, they've got the Thresh, they've got the Zac, and the Urgot to be able to take a lot of that damage. So it's going to be important for RMU to make sure they can protect their backline as best as possible. We're going to be getting into the game soon as part of the spectate rules. We have the 3-minute delay, and then on top of the stream, there is some additional time added onto it. So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back after about 2 minutes, we'll get into the game. Alrighty, we're going to be getting into the game real shortly as the spectate delay has concluded. And, oh wow, that is a different spectate clan than I am used to. Alrighty. So taking a quick look at the summoners for RMU, the teleport for the top lane, Ignite going for the mid and the for RMU's Zoe and for the Thresh. So again, it's gonna be looking at that level 2 for the bot lane. They're gonna be looking for that all in likely, but IIT here to combat that with their own Ignite, and unfortunately, you know, if they get IIT down really low, Nami's W might not be able to get that healing enough to get them through. We have the cleanse coming in, the Yasuo going to be useful against the Zoe, and any possible ganks for Zac likely. The Kane, nothing to comment on there. Both sides have the variety when it comes to where they've placed their flash. On the dash or the flash. D or F. But RMU also having the advantage with the skins, 5 skins to 4, with Draco going for the base skin for Kane. And yeah, something that we'll be wanting to watch out for sure is the level 2 for the bot lane, to see if they're going to instantly go for, if either side's going to instantly try to press the advantage with that. Keeping an eye out for around the 3-minute mark as the junglers clear their respective sides and possibly look for gank for a top, but we've been seeing, a lot within this current meta of some crazy jungle pathing, from like taking the red buff, walking all the way up to the red side, red jungle or something like that. But again, not much to really theory craft here, as we're waiting for it to load ourselves into the game. So again, RMU will be here on the blue side, IIT here on the red, and as the gates are about to just come down, looks like we're seeing pings from RMU come in to look for a spread, as all 5 of them are spreading out. Looks like Illinois Tech opting for the same, making sure that they cover all their entrances, so both top laners and junglers going for the same entrance here. Going to be spawning out to Urgot and Zac, so pings coming out from IIT here. Nami has been putting a ward already on the bush. Lucian already putting himself right here on the bot bush, so Xayah, meanwhile, watching the turret. And we're already getting a little bit of a skirmish as Rumble's using his heat to just ward off that flame with any ideas of what their top and bottom are going to be doing. Going to be tagging the Urgot just a little bit. Pings coming out from IIT as they do spot the Thresh inside their river. So with about 10 seconds left, 15 seconds left until the first camps are about to spawn, they've got a pretty good idea about where their bot lane will be. Xayah going to be going inside the bush. Not going to be seeing the Lucian if he's going to be the first one coming in. He is going to get a little bit of a tag, but Thresh right here to just ward off any ideas of IIT trying to follow up. So both of the knowledge coming in that both junglers going to be starting off their Raptors as we start off in the bot lane. Lucian already taking just a little bit of a tick of damage as he kind of moved up into the lane, not knowing where Xayah was inside the bush currently. The tri-ward bush coming here in the top lane, going to be making sure that the Kane, as he's going to be clearing off his camps, is not going to be looking for any early ganks. Nami going to be starting off with her W level 1, just trying to do as much as she can for just like the range of her abilities here. But IIT already placing themselves in a good position right now with the doing a little damage to their bot lane here. Another W coming out from the Nami and giving IIT the level 2 advantage. Decent amount of damage going to be forcing the Lucian to be using some pots as RMU has just reached the level 2. Q and E going out for the Thresh respectively, and Thresh already here, if I'm not mistaken, has already been used both of his pots. Lucian already using his, so IIT off to a strong start here with their bot lane. Taking a look real quick here with Kane, he's going to be, he's finished all of his red camps. Going to be looking at the scuttle now. Haven't really been giving too much attention to the mid lane, but we see the Yasuo already kind of pushing the wave up a little bit. Some of the pings coming in, they RMU having a feeling that the Kane is around the area. And the clearing that plant is going to be giving IIT's Kane a little bit of information that the blue buff is available, but Zach is just completing his wolves, so it'll be important to see if they can find each other in here in the map. We're likely going to have our first skirmish in the game. RMU and IIT going to be meeting now as the pings are coming out. Zoe is going to be coming out first, but the smite battle is won by the Kane. The sleeping trouble bubble is going to be falling into Zach, and as Zoe tries to flash for the first blood, but the Rumble already trying to go in for the Urgot, and Yasuo here trying to do what he can, but the flash coming out from the Kane is going to be able to avoid the kills, but the Zach is going to be able to try to see if he can block any damage. The wind wall being a little bit too late, but Kane going to be having to force himself to get out of this sticky situation. The knockup tornado is not going to land, nor is the W from the Kane. And we've already got some jungle action happening as Zoe using a lot of 2-3 abilities at least inside that jungle fight to try to see if she could get any kills, but it's only going to be able to get the assist. Good effort with the flash play. Was kind of betting it, hedging her bets with that flash though. I don't think that it was going to be in range anyway. So Kane using his abilities to be able to get himself out there. Yasuo putting help is one just trying to not deny the Zoe any use of her abilities, but we've got a nice wave coming up here. Zoe going to be likely looking for her first back end. Again, the first blood going for the Rumble here that we've seen. Looks like we have a flash missing from both the supports, so we likely have just missed a skirmish earlier. But taking a quick look at the CS count, IIT seems relatively even. The Aerie doing its work, trying to get as much damage as possible with it. So Zach winning out the smite battle is going to be putting him just probably a little bit ahead. Yeah, about a half level ahead, as he's going to be finishing his cross and getting himself to level 5, as Kane is just about halfway here to level 4. Thresh going to be missing his hook here. Another try to put some harass here on the Nami. The Flay going to be missing on the Thresh. Kane here in the meanwhile, but Zach is going to be present here. The smite coming in for the Zach here, but Kane trying to see if he can get any members, but Draco being taken pretty low with the forced ignite, and IIT knowing that the Zach does not have passive, but the pings are coming from that the Zoe is missing. I don't think IIT is going to be follow up on it. So a little bit of team focus. Kane trying to think that he was confident enough to deny any of that damage, but no flash available for that fight either, so we're going to be seeing the Zach be able to back, and I think Kane is going to still be just a little bit behind of the Zach still, so level 6 will be important. But Zach's going to be taking his time to top lane after clearing out those Krugs. RMU's bot lane would be backing as well, so IIT going to have to try to see if they can push this wave as fast as they can to try to match the pacing of RMU here. Seeing pings coming out as both control wards are going to be spotted out on each team. But pings are coming out from the Zach that he is looking, having a feeling that the Yasuo is around. The knockup is going to be landing for RMU here, and the ignite being used here for the Zoe is going to be taking that Zach really low. One more auto will do it, and the smite coming in from the Zach will secure off that kill, unfortunately. The wind wall not being able to help out too much from the Zoe's auto attacks, and that's going to pace behind Draco even more, as Zach with his level 6 is going to be able to start taking his time and taking whatever he wants inside there. The sleep going to be landing on Draco, but the Q I don't believe was able to land. No vision here as Kane's trying to see what he can do, but taking a lot of damage. He's going to have to force himself to walk out. Rumble here, level 7, going to try to see if he can do anything. The sleeping trouble bubble not going to land, but Erlen taking really low here. He's going to try to force a lot, but it's not going to be enough. And Urgot here to match as well is not going to be helping IIT as they struggle to kind of commit control here inside their red jungle, just as we saw in the skirmish earlier in blue. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, it looks like Zaya had to use a heal earlier, as the level 6 is going to be coming pretty soon. A nice hook there, and on top of the level 6 for the Lucian is going to be doing a lot of damage for RMU in favor. So Ping's coming out for the Thresh. He's likely going to be trying to put a ward around to keep track of the Kayn, as the blue camps will be spawning shortly. Kayn, meanwhile, though, having to force himself to finish off the Dread after the delay. The hook missing out from the Threshers to try to predict the Zaya's movements. But Lucian here with no ult is going to be important. Keep in mind, the bubble, unfortunately, not going to land for IIT, and I think Lucian ends up winning that trade with Zaya taken pretty low, and no healing available as well. Zac here, level 6, going to be trying to take on the drag solo. Urgot, meanwhile, going to the Rift. Ping's coming out from the top lane, seeing that they cannot spot him out. But the Kayn, meanwhile, here is looking for a potential gank. But I think they saw it coming, as RMU did have a ward there earlier. As Dragon is taking a 500 HP, but right on top of the Kayn is going to help. And Nami does not have the ult for the wave. That's going to be important, though. IIT trying to see what they can. Another Ignite coming out from the Thresh. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to be landing after the Kayn flashes, but the Sleep coming in is going to take down that Nami, unfortunately. Snowdown, meanwhile, trying to see what he can do, but with no vision, is going to be taken right into 4 members of RMU. And lack of coordination, I think, is because Zaya trying to farm herself, but Kayn not being aware that there's vision being placed on him as he was going in for that entrance. So taken already within 10 minutes of the game. RMU with an easy 2k lead here. Taking a quick look. Yeah, just a little bit of the movement with these kind of early skirmishes. I think IIT's definitely falling behind with that. Trying to be able to match the movement. It's going to be important. Zoe here now helping out the Zac as they go for the blue buff and the Rom. Rumble's lane is starting to push in a little bit, so perhaps a gank coming in pretty soon, but IIT's ward will spot them out, so they do know what's coming up. Zac going to be pinging out for the Rift Herald. He wants to be looking to see if he can spot anything here in IIT's jungle, but the Kayn has already cleared the camps. Ping's coming out from Zac as he is taking the long way all the way through the Tribush and might be meeting the Zac head first. Marilyn getting himself in a tight spot, but with the E forcing himself out for a flash, trying to see if he can get any damage done on Zac. But again, IIT trying to see if they can cover their vision. Really only this ward holding themselves past the river point. RMU already kind of taking control with 3 bushes here. Kayn gonna be here looking for another gank. The wave not going to be initiated with Nami, as RMU had already kind of distanced themselves from it. But however, they hook onto the Lucian is not going to help out. And will not connect with any members of RMU there, and as they space themselves really nicely. Unfortunately, IIT in their bot lane seeming to have a hard time in this skirmish, in this 2v2 battle. Meanwhile, in the top lane, not too much of a deficit, but as the turret plating is starting to get its another tick, this would be now the 3rd tick for RMU. Likely one more here as well. We're going to be seeing the Lucian going to slowly creep up on that minion advantage, though. Perhaps some shutdown, some bounty going to be placed on him soon, but important to keep in mind with the kill bounties that we have 600 and 650 on RMU's mid lane and jungle respectively. The bubble going to get nicely catch out the Thresh, but unfortunately we'll get the hop over the wall. Naka going to be cashing out the Kane as he's taken in a tight spot, but the Drowsy will be able to be negated, but members of RMU already here to collapse. Yasuo trying to be able to use his ult, not going to be doing enough damage, and Thresh with his Flay inevitably coming out, getting a nice splash out there, but another fighting happening over here as the RMU just doing too good of a job here, collapsing. A nice flash from the Urgot going to be capturing him in that fear. However, RMU's rotations are too much for IIT to handle, and even in this 2v1, I really am not enjoying how their bot lane isn't trying to press the advantage at all. Lucian's going to be able to avoid any of those abilities. They've been flexing with the Bilgewater Cutlass on the Nami. So IIT, again, struggling to find any kind of rhythm in this game to be able to set the pacing for it. They want to, but the Lucian's going to just try to take his time with it. So Thresh already with his Bowie boots going to be dashed back to lane, and we're going to likely look at a redemption going to be here for the first item, as RMU is going to be confident here with their ability to fight and sustain due to IIT again kind of a big gap that we've been seeing is, you know, their champs are being taken down too quickly with no tanks available for them. So about 15 minutes into the game, first dragon being taken here with the mountain one for RMU. Turret plating has fallen, so there's going to be no first tower gold yet for that, but could be seeing it here in the bot lane first. But ping's coming out as RMU get the feeling that the Yasuo's not where he's supposed to be. But again, look at those rotations. Zoe and Zac already there for the 4-man. Kane just arriving, so the ward also going to be getting him spotted out again. But again, Thresh Hook going to be missing out, trying to look for an all-in here onto the Kane. The wave is going to be holding them back, but the nice 3-man knock-up there is going to get them, unfortunately, going to collapse IIT. This is missing out on the dash here as IIT members try to scramble to get themselves out of here. Flash being used to Kane just to try to delay them as long as possible. Meanwhile, in the 1v1 though, perhaps Theo going to be looking in for an all-in. Zai going to be finished. Knock up from the Urgot, but they are going to likely want to be look at a forced dive, but with little to no health and IIT's members converging here, we might not be able to see any collapse here. Going in for the 1v1, but they're going to be facing right into the Lucian and forcing out the flash of the Thresh, but really close battle here as the Lucian tries to get what he can, but the nice ultimate onto the Lucian is going to prevent him from that as IIT tries to get themselves out here. The blocking coming in is going to be getting the Thresh hook, and Lucian here meanwhile just to try to see Rumble going to be the first to fall. Nami being here too late. Lucian being able to cross out all the way, and it's not looking too good for IIT as they try to get themselves out the trouble bubble, already taking them out. And RMU here with a good response. IIT taking too long to try to get those kills. Not sure why you would do that, seeing that you could almost get one-shotted by the 8-0-2 Zoe. But as a lot of the fighting that we saw happen, I think in this early game was due to the Kane having a hard time trying to see where keep track of the Zac, and a lot of those skirmishes were kind of used in terms of team communication about who to go in for first. Kane going in for that Thresh and Lucian bot lane, but the Bilgewater Cutlass is going to be used onto the Lucian, but it's already going to almost get the kill, and they will be winning out that 1v1 as Nami tries to force herself to flash out, but it's going to get instantly collapsed by 3 of RMU's members. And again, RMU being confident in how they take these skirmishes, they rarely look for that 1v1, 2v2 approach that IIT really wants to be trying to capitalize on. A lot of these fights are looking at, you know, at least 2, if not 3 assists coming in. And looking here, we already have the first tower being taken down in the mid lane for RMU, so this will be the tier 1 number 2 for RMU here, as the IIT is going to try to see how they can combat this. You know, a lot of this is going to have to rely on the Kane to see if he can pick any members of RMU out, but it's, you know, RMU's collapse to be able to try to force themselves to bring the fight to each other. It's really impacting how the game is progressing itself. Zach going to be having to put his Herald all the way down here in the top lane, as the Rumble's going to be spotted again by another 3 members, forcing out his ult early, and our IIT's members are just not ready with vision of what is happening inside their own jungle, inside their own side of the map. No Rumble ult or TP will delay any kind of fight happening. The Ghost going to be used for Urgot, but Nami going to be cashed out to try to see what she can do to hold on to the river, and Army doing almost pretty much of a clean sweep here, as there are now 5 members of IIT. Zaya just starting to move her way up here, but it's going to be cut off. The Q going to be spotting out to Zaya, unfortunately, but IIT taking too low, and another knockup from the Zach is going to get pretty much the ace here for them. Redemption again for the sustain. A nice flash engage here from Urgot right into the threshold is going to continue their push, as the Rift Herald is still holding on. And as RMU is looking to smash in through this top lane with their first inhibitor of the game, IIT in a tight spot now as the RMU is looking here to end. Another hook going to be used onto Kane, but the ability's not going to really connect here. Sleep coming in from the Nami. Not going to be able to connect. But as again, the Rift Herald still holding on. Another hook coming out from the threshold. We're going to be looking at game 1 concluding here for RMU in favor of them. IIT trying to do what they can at this point. Just padding up those KDA stats for the battle fights. Get those close kills in, forcing out a lot of flashes. Zac pass is going to be used here. IIT going to make quick work of it. But looks like IIT not ready to really take this loss yet, as they hold on with about 1,400 health left. Another hook being landed on the rush here. RMU now just saving it for the one last fight as they look to siege on this mid inhibitor. Going to have to be forcing IIT to fight. Nami going to be initiating with the wave. Does land on Lucian. Kane trying to get himself into the game, but Kane and Zach with a really nice ult puts 2 members of IIT right in front of them. And that's going to be a 4 members of IIT. A nice bubble to capture Zach, but at this point, delaying the inevitable here for IIT, as going to be left with flash to hook. Okay. IIT at this RMU at this point going to be taking the first game 32-5 with game 1 under the belt. Alrighty. So we're going to jump over to the team 2. RMU pretty much convincingly taking that first game with the with a lot of their team fighting prowess, being able to take a lot of those advantages. We're going to be looking at a side swap here, so IIT now going to be on the blue side as we move on to game 2. in terms of how IIT can look to improve, I think it's just got to be vision control. You know, we saw a lot of those control wards in terms of the early mid game. I was commenting, I think like 4-1 in terms of IIT. So Zach, you know, moving inside IIT's jungle. Kane trying to go to see if he can take any early advantages with that blue buff, but losing out on that smite battle, um, kind of delaying getting RMU in there first. I do like the first blood that the Rumble got on the Urgot matchup. You know, in terms of single lane matchups, I don't have too much really to contribute to that. I think a couple of bot lane mechanics showing up with a lot. I think Nami having to, or Kate, Snowdown having to use the heal. I think, but the Thresh doing his work on RMU's side with landing out some nice hooks, able to layer it right after Zach's E, keeping them at bay. Again, I think it's just really in the team communication when it comes to how IIT picks out who to focus on first. I definitely saw that in the early game when the Kane had the advantage going down first, but instead opted to be going for the two-man bot lane instead of to Zach. And I think that was when Zach had already lost his passive, I think. But looks like we're gonna jump into the spectate real quick. I'll take a quick look at that as we're gonna head over to see what the next matchup will be. Continue their push as Rift Herald is still holding on. And as RMU is looking to smash in through this top lane with their first inhibitor of the game, IIT in a tight spot now as the RMU is looking here to end. Another hopefully used onto Kane, but the abilities not going to really connect here. Sleep coming in from the Nami, not going to be able to connect. But as again, Rift Herald still holding on. Another hook coming out from the Thresh. We're going to be looking at game one concluding here for Alright, taking a quick look at the picks and bans already coming out. IIT going in for same bans with Morgana, Fizz, and Quinn. The Sivir being picked now for IIT, and I think that's not too bad of a choice, seeing how the Thresh being still open for RMU seemed to be a bit of a hassle for IIT to be able to combat, especially in the mid to late game. But the Lucian going to be banned out from the Eagles themselves, not wanting to give Snowdown that option. Urgot going to be picked here for the top lane again. In terms of the 1v1 matchup, it seemed like Rumble was holding out on his own, but you know, RMU looking here probably to not force out the not kind of demanding a solo lane matchup win. The Braum going to be picked here for the Eagles now, as opposed to banning it, and going to be leaving IIT here, likely with their pick for the support and top lane left, I think. Urgot's already been chosen, so the Xin Zhao coming out for IIT here. Really good in terms of gap closing. So again, I definitely like Draco's confidence in trying to take these skirmishes. I think he just needs to make sure that the communication within the team has to be there so that they know who to focus when he is going to be kind of looking as the initiator for IIT in these kind of fights. We're going to be seeing the Thresh coming out here, though, for IIT, and I do think that Poro does play a decent amount of that. So, going to be important to see if they can land a hook spot against the Ezreal for RMU. With his ability to phase out of that, not going to be as advantageous as opposed to more traditional ADCs, marksman. The top lane bans coming out for RMU now with that Scion. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen Nairellen play Scion in a CLoL match, but the Malzahar are going to be taken out here, and I think those are just some things that they want to be able to avoid in terms of their matchup and not necessarily a target ban being used for the Eagles here. IIT with their last ban going to be looking at the Sejuani. And so again, RMU with a already with two of their tanks kind of providing with that front line with the Braum Shield and Urgot. Going to be trying to see if, again, trying to look in for the team plays, but with the Xin, Sivir Thresh, that's also fairly good. The Assassin with the LeBlanc coming out, that's going to be fun to watch. But against, as we have the two picks left for IIT here in this rotation. That was an old match. This was old. Alright. Rumble going to be used on the top lane again. And the last pick here for the mid will be put for Ranamar. And we're going to be seeing Kassadin. Is that going to be locked in? No, the Syndra will be locked in here for the Hawks. And as we're left with RMU's jungler left to be picked, going to be interesting to see, as RMU's jungler last time was Zac, if RMU's going to be kind of looking for another approach with a more tankier initiator, as opposed to maybe something to combat 1v1 against the Xin Zhao. Kha'Zix? No. Olaf coming in, and again, another bruiser that's going to be taking up a lot of that damage, and going to be avoiding a lot of the CC abilities that IIT might have with the Thresh and the Syndra available. So as we're going to be taken up into that matchup, let's switch back to the pick ban scene, as we now have our comps ready to go. And again, IIT here will be taking here game 2 now on the blue side. RMU will be on the red. And in terms of
You too will be
what IIT
judged.
will want to be trying to take on into game two to learn from game one, I think vision control is going to be important. Trying to see if they, in terms of jungler movement, and I think team communication in terms of taking these fights are going to be
You don't
important.
have the
You know, a lot of these fights that I saw from RMU, taking them confidently with 3-4 members to be able to leave before they forced to commit. IIT trying to see what they could do earlier when they
Think
saw
what
that
I
like
could
Lucian was being
offer.
left alone, but Lucian, you know, smartly choosing to not con
I'd keep my head down if I were you.
not being confrontational.
Foolish child.
Quinban is interesting. I think when I remember Illinois Tech talking about that in their strategy meeting, that's being focused on the top lane for Remy, and yeah, Quinn top lane. It's really fun. I used to play that I think 2-3 seasons ago. QE, her kit's just really nice in terms of kiting and closing gap closing as well with her E as well.
You reek of fear.
But IIT now, you know,
Can't cage me for long.
opting instead of the Yasuo mid lane now with the Syndra. Going to be interesting to see how that goes against with the LeBlanc. You know, early game LeBlanc, if RMU gets good enough lead on her, as we saw in the matchup in the first game, that they, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at one point she had an 8-0-2 KDA or something like that. So definitely going to be needing an answer for her in order to be able to not net any kills
I won't be denied.
after roaming. And that's going to be important for IIT again to be able to layer it down that communication, get that vision control where they can. So taking advantage of those rift scuttlers and whatnot will be, and the control wards are going to be important. In terms of summoners, not too much to comment on, I think. Ignite's fine for their bot lane in terms of Danami. I liked how they had the aggression early game to like poke to force RMU's bot lane to use all of their pots immediately. I really think that first big mistake was the Kane going in there with a 3v3 instead of losing a lot of health there against the Thresh and Lucian. But we're gonna be taken into the spectate delay shortly. So once we get into the loading screen, we'll be able to give a little. I'll be able to give a little bit of commentary in terms of the runes that they've equipped. But 3 ignites coming out for IIT. 2 TPs going to be used here for RMU, so that's natural with this reel that I've seen a lot. And so as we're going to wait for this to count down for the delay, we're just going to jump over really quick to break. So we'll see you in about 2 minutes. Thanks. Alright, about 5 seconds out from the delay. Thanks for holding on, everyone. Let's see. It's going to be an exciting game. So IIT here being on the blue side, we are going to be seeing the Electrocute, Comet, I like that Aftershock. Oh, I didn't see arm use too fast enough. Unlucky. Okay. Oh. Olaf with the stopwatch. Minion dematerializer. Pings coming out for IIT as they look on approaching the game with a 5-man invade. I like this new strategy from IIT as they're just trying to see whatever advantages they can be pushing themselves forward with. Urgot here in the meanwhile though going to be inside the tri-bush as he spots out members of IIT. A flash coming out from the Thresh and Urgot respectively to dodge the hook. And already electrifying start. And that'll be used for Rumble's advantage likely in the top lane. Let's see, he's not going to be flashing out of that fire anytime soon. Olaf here throwing out a nice large T-bone stake to see if they can find anyone. But not going to be connecting with any members yet. Pings coming out from RMU as during that 5-man invade they had already placed some vision with a ward being placed in front of the Raptors. The Xin going to be spotting out the Ezreal, but Ezreal getting that last auto attack, netting himself 10 gold right there. As RMU having a hard time to figure out where that Xin's going, but Xin looking like they already have the idea that their bot lanes are going to be approaching the 2v2 lane right from the start as we saw from game 1. So Rumble not really, I think maybe did one auto and then left. Don't quote me on that. Meanwhile, IIT spot lane now finally starting to move, trying to see if they can deceive RMU that they were not there, but again, that ward is going to be spotting them out for that, so they likely have a good idea of where the Xin will be. Olaf, meanwhile, finally just finishing off his first buff, going to be using a lot of mana to go over for that red. And already RMU's wave going to be pushing in here a little bit, so level 2 advantage for Braum, not really too advantageous, but again, I think IIT going to be going for a more passive approach now to try to see if they can push the lane in to let Xin come in. The ward will be spotting them out as Xin level 2 approaches, but LeBlanc having a good idea of what's going on. It's going to be pinging around, thinking, positioning herself away from that. Xin going on a pretty far roam, trying to see if he can get any members, and it's going to be delaying him even further. Instead, trying to see if he can just finish off these Krugs to just try to keep up the pacing, because as RMU is finishing up this blue buff, he's going to be level 3 right now, and going to be finishing up his Rift Scaler with a blue buff as well. So, with the lane push though, it's not going to be helping out IIT, not going to be helping out RMU too much here. A nice spell shield coming in for Sivir on the level 2. I don't know if that's traditional. I thought it was always QW and then he's level 3, but hey, no complaints there. Meanwhile though, RMU going here, still having vision of that Raptor Pit and going to be taking the red buff for themselves. Xin trying to see if he can go for it, but they're not going to be able to get there in time, and I don't think IIT was aware of that. Again, lack of vision inside this river is going to be, it's really going to be what's going to be the deciding factor for this game. Thresh trying to put himself some vision here on the tri-bush, but it's not going to help out them too much. Xin going to be having to force himself to go for the Krugs below. And Olaf here now with his first back, finishing off the Sculler, going to be probably able to get himself his first half of the jungle items with the Predator boots and the Saber coming out. Skirmisher Saber, clarification. The hook from the Thresh, trying to see if we can connect with any members. A lot of already Ezreal knowing that the Thresh has no hook advantage, dashes himself right up in there. And again, good sense of knowledge here for him to move forward with. But we're seeing pings as the Olaf boots were initiated for Predator. Try to see if they can spot any members, but looks like IIT able to hold them at bay. The Braum Shield going to be denying the W from the Sivir. That's a nice trick. As we're seeing pings here coming out for IIT, excuse me, for RMU as they try to see if they can spot anybody out. Olaf going to be walking here through a ward, so they do have knowledge that the Olaf is inside. The only camps available for them, though, will be the Krugs, so Olaf going to be routing himself back. Going to be interesting to see if IIT can get that read on him. IIT placing a ward inside. Pings coming out from the RMU as they do have the feeling that they're trying to collapse, but LeBlanc here already is going to unfortunately let Olaf take that camp, and it's going to delay the Xin further as he has not too much to go around inside his jungle and continues to starve him out. Again, Xin on a 2-level advantage as we're seeing the nice hook coming in for the Thresh, and Thresh not level 6 here, could be looking at the first blood. Nice for IIT here as they finally are able to get a little bit of the lead, and really nice for it to be falling it onto the Xin after falling behind with his camps. Meanwhile, the Electrocute coming in for the LeBlanc, I believe. Yep, so getting a nice little bit of damage there for RMU. Xin, meanwhile, though, coming in again, trying to see what he can do. The passive, though, able to chunk him out just enough to delay Xin coming in any further. And again, another hook being landed here for the Thresh. He's going to be able to land the full wave of the Q for them, but Syndra with no mana to follow up with is just going to continue to go with their pacing. The Predator boots coming in for the Syndra, walking himself right into the Olaf with the Ignite. Could do it with one more tick. The pot gonna come in, but Draco not here to help out. Trying to see if he can delay it. A nice ultimate from the Rumble is going to catch him out though, and good on Rumble for the roam. Nice collapse here from IIT. Well played. So vision control is still not really being spaced out yet though, as we saw, like as opposed to how earlier in the mid game RMU had them all over. Control ward now coming out for Olaf as he's got himself two. Urgot going to be spotting out the Xin, but no ult on Rumble is going to be leaving him with about 2 minutes? No, minute and a half left to get anything left. But again, the Xin being a little pretty behind, with still level 4. Olaf here, once he finishes these Krugs, will be pretty close to level 6 after he clears out the red camp. So things to expect will likely be another fight coming out top. LeBlanc might be going for a possible roam. RMU here with the earlier back after the skirmish. We're going to be seeing them be able to get the wave pushing for an early start here. But Sivir with her wave clear is going to be able to just keep holding on. And again, I think that's the right approach. IIT's going themselves in here is to try to just wait for the Xin, wait for his initiation, not forcing out the 2v2. Ward management, IIT knows that the ward's been placed over here, so they're going to have to be keeping their eyes open. As Olaf has just finished clearing out his red jungle, he's going to be doing a full clear of his blue side too, maybe giving LeBlanc that blue buff. Not too sure. We'll see. Xin, though, definitely needing that blue buff for himself as he finally reaches level 6, but the Electrocute not coming out? She must have used Stone Cooldown already. The pings coming in for IIT though, as they have that idea that something's going to be happening soon. Olaf probably going to be finishing this blue buff and likely transitioning to Dragon soon, so that's definitely possible. Hook trying to be laid out from the Thresh. Nice Q on the Sivir to be able to land both shots. Good on them. And again, you know, Braum not being there to hold the shield up. But meanwhile here, the E not going to be connecting for Syndra. She's taken to a little half health here. against Olaf, and Olaf definitely not at a state, Xin Zhao definitely not at a state where he can contest against the Olaf in a 1v1 pure skirmish here. Is Flay gonna get him over? Ooh, the Flay will not actually get him over. I think sometimes if you can like get the champ close enough to the wall, you get lucky. But IIT starting to try to put themselves whatever vision that they can do to keep track of this first dragon, and I like the rotation. Thresh gonna be clearing out the wards here. Gonna leave Sivir a little bit exposed here, so it's important to make sure that IIT doesn't just lose themselves here, like with a insane engage or something. The ward finally going to be expiring here for IIT. The hook will not connect. Nice bumblebee emote. Braum here though going to be seeing IIT have the ward here. Instead, you know, Sivir still having to contest all of this farm though, and going to be having to give it up. Braum not putting a ward down, but Sin right here to save the day with his own ward. Possible level 3 fight here, but Olaf here looking at any potential action coming in for the jungle, and we're going to see a little bit of a communication gap here. I don't think that Olaf has been showing in vision, but nope, he will be shown now in Tribush. Okay, 1v1 lost by RMU by Nightwind here. How did that happen? What? What? Like how though? Did he flash into the turret? It's gotta be it, right? No, what? Theo! Okay, just a straight up outplay then, I guess. I don't have literally no words for that. That's unfortunate to see that happen, but Xin coming down here is going to be spotted out by the ward. IIT in a tight spot. A nice W from the Thresh to get away from that Flay, but the angle was a little bit off for the Thresh as well. The lens going to be popped, the blast plant going to be popped over for the LeBlanc as she tries to get over, and the first dragon, we're going to be looking at the contest here as Olaf going to be looking to take this dragon solo. Not sure if IIT has to read on them yet though. Still trying to look to see if they're confident with a 2v2 with the lantern approach, but during this delay, RMU going to be getting the dragon themselves, and again, the lack of vision that they have available to see what's going on led to that, unfortunately. So a lot more closer of a game that we've been seeing from game one, so happy to see IIT able to adapt to RMU's style. Slight gold lead here for RMU as we're approaching the 12-minute mark here with about 300 gold, and that's probably due to all of their stuff on the jungler, if I'm not mistaken. How do you do to see the gold stuff? I forgot. I think it's X or something. Yeah, so 200 gold being used as we're looking at a full all-in for IIT. Nice flash here from the Thresh to avoid that, but it's going to be taken pretty low. And let me just rewatch that just one more time. Sorry about that. Okay, so watch, yeah, just really poor angling, but a nice flash to be able to get himself, and thankfully the timing of it, because the Braum stacks kept him in place, so able to flash out of that just in time. Good on them. Meanwhile, Nightwind having two of his wards placed on the top lane. Going to be trying to keep an eye out for that Olaf as the red camps are available. Zindo, meanwhile, trying to see if they can spot any members, but I don't think they're going to be able to net anything with that. A nice hook being used here. The Flay is going to be close, but the flash available on the Braum, I think, with good discipline, keeps himself out for it. So, no summoners being lost here for RMU. So good discipline to hold on to that for sure. RMU, Urgots though, meanwhile taken to a, with the level advantage, not afraid to press his advantage, and Nerelin gonna be trying to see if he can maintain or be able to farm safely under the turret. But Olaf here going to be just finishing off his red buff, making pings to be looking around near the Rift Herald area. All 3 camps available for Xin. So an Olaf invade will be important to see how IIT can respond to that, as he's going to be going for the Rift Scuttler first. Going to be running right into each other. The Smite going to be securing it for RMU, and they know what's going on here now. But again, this forced wave here is going to force Syndra in her place. LeBlanc could be looking for a roam, unfortunately. The Lens going to be seeing if they can catch any members of clear any vision of RMU, but looks like Xin will be able to farm safely within his own jungle, thankfully. RMU's bot lane, meanwhile, starting to establish vision again, going together here inside IIT's own jungle, but they're not going to find any camps available yet except for the Krugs, but I don't know if IIT's aware of what's happening with this. So pings coming out for IIT, but they don't know what's going on with it. Going to be walking right into the Thresh, and that's going to be taking him pretty low. He does not have a flash available, forcing IIT, forcing the Thresh here to fall for sure. No flash available, unfortunately. And again, IIT just having a hard time to keep control. And again, this ward right here, it's like the #1 ward that you always have to pass through with the jungler after you're done with the Krugs. It's like zip, zip. That's literally how you have to do it. But Rumble here going to be coming in for a roam here, going to try to see whatever members of RMU they can capture here. The stopwatch going to be used here for them, but it's going to be really close here. IIT trying to see what they can get, is able to get to Olaf here, so another good chance for them to be able to hang on to the game with the kill leads at least. But it's going to be running right into the Rumble, and I don't think you're going to have damage for that. But meanwhile, the Thresh here back in time. RMU likely not going to be looking for any more fights. 3 wards being available to clear here for the Thresh, so he's doing just fine. But meanwhile, unfortunately, with the nice hook there, but not going to be able to get anything else after that, unfortunately. And no more turret plating for RMU means that they won't be able to capture any gold. However, with this wave pushing in again, could be looking pretty close to be getting that tower next to none. And we're going to be seeing the tier 2 turret fall here, and again, good pacing, so you know, not just like 30 seconds before Urgot was just finishing his off, as Rumble had to try to get the assist there in the bot lane to get the Olaf. Again, IIT's members not really ready for a fight, as they have lacking any vision inside the red jungle. Xin here for emotional support. 15 seconds left on this Mountain Drake to spawn. IIT, unfortunately, you know, with their summoners control, like ability control, Rumble is going to be, you know, rooted himself here. Going to have to force himself to walk down, but doing that will just continue to push the advantage of the Urgot. But Urgot looking like he wants to be in this fight too, so this is going to be probably one of the big defining fights to determine how the pacing of this goes. So Ward going to be spotting out the Xin inside the entrance here, as 5 members of IIT are approaching here for this first dragon. And item-wise, you've got Ezreal with his first item completed, so he's going to be providing a lot of those trick skill shots down for them. RMU with his Rumble with his ult available, it's going to be looking at the LeBlanc first. The Flay will miss out, but it's going to be capturing out the Thresh. Members of IIT scattered here in this fight, though, as they try to see whatever they can get. Another hook from the Thresh, going to keep them going, but RMU members so low here, trying to see if what they can do. But here with a 2-for-1 advantage, the hook going to be missing out for them. RMU barely winning out that trade with very low members on both sides here. So gonna be able to take that Mountain Drake for themselves, though. The 3rd rated dragon, in my opinion. It's Infernal, Ocean, Mountain, and then Cloud, in my opinion. But you know, not only was the dragon, they got the 2 kills for them. I don't think there's been any shutdown gold yet for any kill bounties placed on IIT yet, but we're gonna be seeing them for RMU in their ADC and their Urgot. So again, you know, RMU again showing their ability to adapt to kind of how the game advantages are being pushed. So last time we saw the Urgot not exactly having a huge goal. We saw it all in their Zoe. But meanwhile, we're going to see this with Urgot roaming inside here, getting instantly popped with, again, the lack of vision. Finally, the ward coming out for ping ward, having an idea that, you know, something might be inside here that I don't like. Can we do something about it? Sivir going to be the first one finally, though, now to finally get that dreaded control ward out of the way. And IIT, again, you know, those kind of spots are definitely important for supports and junglers to keep in mind. And in those 5v5 settings, it's crucial, that kind of information. So as we're kind of looking as the lanes start rotating themselves out. Sorry, hold on. Ooh, okay, let's look at that 1v1. So the tower rune going to be used to get a decent chunk there for Rumble, but already the taking two turret shots from the Olaf, unfortunately, going to get him really close to death, and as he just fought him right on top of the Rumble's ultimate. But we're going to be seeing the bot lane here in the mid, LeBlanc going here for the top, Syndra coming up through mid lane, so going to be trying to, maybe IIT going to be looking for rotation top lane, but Rumble definitely for sure will be addressing the bot lane with the Urgot again, and Urgot with the 2 kills, 2-0 and 2. Again, looking real quick at the gold. You've got, yeah, about 1,000 gold advantage here for the Urgot. So getting that kill bounty would be really good if Rumble's able to get a decent gank out of it. You know, the timing of it is important because, like, if Urgot doesn't have his dash, well, then that's almost a guaranteed shoo-in for the Xin to be able to get himself right in there. But looks like IIT finally instead choosing to keep 3 of their members here in the mid lane, leaving Draco himself to fend off. I'm not too much of a fan of that, seeing how we saw how earlier, you know, Draco with no MR available owned the Ninja Tab Ice, leaving himself to deal with it. It's going to be pretty scary, but he has his flash available, so IIT meanwhile trying to see whatever they can do to keep the fighting in the mid lane, it looks like, for the most part. Looking towards ward vision, IIT keeping a good job on their red jungle camps, but in the blue, again, these vision wards are going to be keeping it out for the first Baron, but knowing that IIT doesn't really have any action going on there as Rumble was in the bot. Not going to be needed. That information not going to do too much for them. Meanwhile, Xin going to be likely looking for his first, but he's instantly shifts away the second that he spots the Ezreal. Pings coming out for assists for LeBlanc and Olaf as they hide themselves in the bush again, possibly looking for any members of IIT being caught out. Again, our IIT wants to continue taking this fight 5v5 the best that they can, but forcing Urgot to just continue battering down the hatches. IIT going to be trying to really force themselves into this fight, forcing out the Chrono Break already. Going to be close. Syndra already being removed from the fight, unfortunately, and that's not going to be helping out IIT. Olaf being unstoppable and the redemption being placed with the Braum is going to be a full clear for IIT. Olaf just barely surviving, and again, IIT, unfortunately, not being able to take that fight correctly, as communication didn't seem to be how they wanted the fight to progress. So I guess the vision control that RMU had here finally paying themselves off, as I don't think they saw that LeBlanc coming in. Sivir being left to farm against an Urgot, well, you're not going to get any damage on him, that's for sure, even with the MR, seeing how ahead he is. But I swore I saw redemption, and yeah, that's going to actually be used on the Olaf. Interesting. I have not seen that before, but it's working. Yeah, definitely the redemption helping out in a pinch to keep Olaf alive for that last skirmish, and to continue to fight onwards after the first, after the removal of the Syndra right after they got caught. So a lot of ults being had to be expended there, and RMU looking to transition themselves here for this Ocean Drake coming in about 5 seconds. IIT trying to set up whatever vision that they can in the Baron. 2 control wards being used, a decent amount of control wards being used for all lanes, so good on IIT to recognize the importance of that. But as we're taking kind of now into this mid-game phase, IIT instead are going to be calling it to try to see if they can get the Baron. No, trying to see if they can set themselves up with a death bush, excuse me. But instead, The ward going to be used, trying to see whatever members they can catch out. Finally capturing one member of IIT, forcing the flash out. Oh my lord, 2 flashes being used for the support. I respect it. So finally paying off here for IIT, but Sivir being left alone trying to farm, getting a nice hook onto the Ezreal. Is going to be taking down the members really closely, and unfortunately, finally the Olaf going to be caught out here, but he's going to be dangerous. Xin coming in to dash in to close it out. Urgot not with his ult available, so I don't think his ult was able to connect, unfortunately, leaving IIT here able to win that fight. So good initiation from the team there, and leaving only 2 members of RMU. Unfortunately, the hook coming out, able to get him before the dash, getting a nice flay onto the LeBlanc as well, and Thresh just barely able to keep himself alive. IIT finally was taking out basically 5 members of RMU in there, holding on with that resilience. I like it. So yeah, finally able to play the comp that they are confident with. Xin going himself right from the front. One more knockup could do it. Getting the W right on top of it, but Xin going to be taken really low and just try to take it out, and RMU getting caught out here, unfortunately. A convenient minion push there to able to get Syndra right out of the battle, and Xin now finally with a little shutdown of gold of his own. So I think that's a decent amount of bounties going over. So 700 on the Urgot, so that's good. 750 on the Olaf, 700 on the Ezreal. That's going to help out IIT a lot. So, meanwhile though, Rumble going to be delayed a little bit with his back. And no TP available is going to be important to see how those fights go. So, definitely going to be important for RMU for IIT to keep their objectives in control and time it along with the abilities and summoners that they have at their disposal. Seeing that RMU with their 2 teleports are going to be able to kind of have the advantage in dictating the pace and how these games go. Both jungler and support finally going out together. I like that. That's the kind of movement that we need to see. A nice, cleverly disguised chicken ward going to be placed there to capture it. Going to be important to make sure though that they be careful about going at it, because yeah, it's an inconvenient spot. So Braum trying to see whatever he can do. IIT placed a little bit of vision. Going to be seeing that LeBlanc all the way up there. That's not a fake for sure. Pings coming out for IIT. RMU looking like they don't want to be fighting at that spot yet. IIT does have a little bit of vision around there. You know, popular places you want to always put the wards are like here, Raptor Pit, here inside the bush, but looks like RMU has already done their due diligence and cleared out. The first Synchronous E not going to be available here. A lot of health being taken out for the Thresh already, and continuing that Baron aggression, going to continue taking members from IIT low, but 2 nice little honey fruits, is that the name of it? I always forget. Gonna heal them right back up. Gonna be important again, so I believe Olaf will have redemption for this. First of all though, Syndra spawning out 2 members, forcing out the ult for Olaf early, getting the knockup for the Olaf, getting 2 members. IIT's negating a lot of damage with that Xin ult, but is gonna be getting dragged into that Urgot. 3 members from IIT taking it really low, and it's gonna be getting that first, but ooh, the Urgot just being too tanky for IIT to be able to handle, to take it down first, and the Rumble will be left alone to his devices. No ult available on the Rumble will unfortunately mean that he doesn't have a lot of damage, but as the Mountain Drake and 2 Oceans are going to continue sustaining them, the MR and the Urgot is gonna negate any of that potential, and RMU going to be looking for their first clear here. Yeah, let's watch that fight again. That was actually really good. I want to just get that done. So, yeah, the 2 knockups first. Okay. So, instantly followed up the pathing off to get off the Rumble, and then Xin finally using his ult to cut off the Urgot. All of that damage though, meanwhile, Ezreal just on here, gets the LeBlanc first. Yeah, so Sivir already taken low. She's missing out on at least 1 or 2 auto attacks, unfortunately. Getting a nice hook, but the fear Ezreal instantly here just to point out their front line. Yeah, Rumble positioning here, trying to force the fight to move up, I think. Yeah, unfortunate for IIT. I cannot believe that Urgot barely escaped with his life. That's really unlucky. Alrighty. Sorry, so I'll just move up the pacing a bit to what we saw happen. Try to avoid the spoilers. Alright. Oh, sorry. Overpacing. Alright, so 27 minutes into the game, RMU with their Baron now taking control of the... Getting another 2-man knockup as we saw similar, but Deja Vu... Rumble going to be holding off on his ult here. Finally going to be using it, getting Xin to initiate first, but the Flash going to try to... Nightwind trying to see if he can get any members of the LeBlanc super low, as Real though trying to see whatever they can do. IIT members flashing continuously, just one at a time to try to get whatever they can. But, why? Just no. There's absolutely no reason for that. Oh man. Okay, so IIT is having to expend a lot of flashes for that. RMU meanwhile taking this fight grouped up, knowing what's going on. Ooh, spawn out to Syndra, but again, positioning for IIT difficult as they're being left out. Oh, Xin taking a little bit of a cash out here. The Sivir taken really low here is going to be getting that as Real just positioning again. Unfortunately, forcing the flash out for Syndra here, getting the nice chrono break here. The Thresh finally here though. It's going to be taking a lot of damage there, and likely going to have to be likely having them give it up, but IIT instead choosing to force themselves to fight. The Braum Shield going to hold everything through. Xin going to be able to finally get the Olaf. Exhaust going to be used on the Rumble from, whose exhaust was that? I don't know. Okay. But RMU looking here to end the game, unfortunately. A nice ult here from the Fear is going to be able to get the Syndra finally, and RMU finally takes the game. It looks like it. Taken to a very close game. I like the mid-game comeback that they had. Unfortunately, RMU quick to adapt to it. But finally, with just a couple more auto attacks, we're going to be seeing RMU take game 2 and the win. Alrighty, I think that's going to do it for us. So, in the end of the day, RMU pulling out ahead with a 2-0 victory against the Hawks. Game 1 definitely felt like a really one-sided fight with IIT having a lot of issues that we saw in terms of their team fighting and their initial approaches and vision control. But Game 2, a much more hard-fought one for RMU as IIT with the mid-game, near the mid-late game, trying to take those fights with the 5-man approach before RMU members could react. So taking the fight to them, I like it. Yeah, Urgot unfortunately being really tanky after a couple of those roams from the Rumble in that bot lane, just letting him get ahead. Thresh, decent amount of hooks to be able to just continue the team fights where they needed to. Unfortunately, not having too much health with his item build with only 2, as opposed to the 1.5k gold lead from the Braum. It's going to be the MR, Moby Boots. What kind of boots do you have? Tabbies? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's see. 5k gold lead there for the Urgot. Yeah, definitely the top lane matchup definitely seemed like a couple of small misplays that I wasn't too pleased about with watching there, with the 1v1, I guess, not being expecting to kill there. And then a couple of times, like we saw in that dragon fight pit, it's Narellen just kind of poking his head out a little bit too far to just get the Ezreal Q snipe. And maybe it's just, muscle memory of just trying to move around like that. But I do like how the bot lane adapted their strategy instead to be waiting for the Xin for those fights, trying to keep vision of the Olaf. I like the approaches from IIT when they had that. Again, just small things here and there. We saw the that control ward that RMU placed by the red buff on that corner not get removed until finally IIT had an inkling that something might not have been right. Mid lane matchup, Syndra holding out on her own. I think she was able to perform really well, especially with some of those engages with her QE to start those fights off, and then the movement that we see with the Sivir ult being used right after. Those are the kind of fights that IIT was ready to take. Unfortunately, RMU after the first 2 or 3 of those skirmishes that they lost out on, quickly able to adapt their strategy instead, forcing IIT to be able to try to move within their own jungle and IIT not really be able to match up that pacing as we saw in that last inhib hold. Sivir getting misplays, Xin going out into the gates first. So again, a lot of that just how IIT has to address taking fights after objectives, taking fights or what to do in terms of after team fights is going to be important. A couple of those delays that we saw. But overall, it was I'm reasonably happy with IIT's performance in terms of what we expected. RMU again, showing off their prowess with I think going into the North Conference with the number 3 seed rank. So IIT here facing their first loss of the season. So moving forward with the remainder of the games, IIT going to be in a must-win condition in order to try to move on through regionals. But good for them to finally get their first adversary with some of these hard-fought games. Next week we'll try to get a chance to be able to stream the games again. I enjoy it. I definitely want to try to continue promoting the IIT community. But yeah, I think that's going to be doing it here for us. So um, so again, to wrap it up, RMU winning 2-0 on the 9th here of February. And we'll be here tomorrow to cast the Overwatch games in the Textbook Collegiate Series, but this will do it here today for the League of Legends North Conference. So again, my name's Elvin Epoxy. Feel free to follow Illinois Tech on all of that social media, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, I don't know, Snapchat. We don't have one. I was kidding about that, but enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and Elvin Moore signing out.